Hey, random people out there on the internet. Here we are in Mustang Ridge, and I am the Wood Bandit. So in an earlier video, I posted about inexpensive ways to acquire materials. Um, you know, resale shops and whatnot. You can look at the video and see what I was talking about. And one reason I suggested this to new people is that if they're not fully committed to woodworking, they may want to work with more economical pieces of wood. So let's take a look at what we're talking about here. All right, so to understand how wood is sold, you need to understand that your typical home center, like a Home Depot or Lowe's, sells wood by the stick for the most part, by the sheet, and in some cases by linear board feet. Okay, so we're going to look at some of this and see what we're talking about. I think everybody knows what this is. This is a standard 3.5 inch by 1.5 inch 2x4 that you buy at your home center. It's 8 foot long. Current price, $2.98 for this stick. All right, so we'll put that aside and we'll look at something else. This is a strip of plywood. It's red oak plywood that was bought from Home Depot. It's sold in a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet, and a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet is $89.98. If you want to get good quality plywood, you'd be paying in excess of $100 a sheet. Now, this is MDF, 3/4 inch thick, and also bought at Home Depot, and it was $48.98 for a sheet that's 8 foot by 4 foot. So that's quite a bit of material that you can make cabinets and things out of. Staying with the home center, this is red oak. Okay, red oak is a hardwood. They don't sell it by 8 foot lengths or 12 foot lengths. They sell it by the foot. 1 foot of red oak at the home center is $8.98 per linear foot. So this piece alone is about $13. So you can see that as you continue to improve the quality of the material you're working with, the price goes up exponentially. As a new woodworker, the last thing you want to do is cut into an expensive board only to find out that you cut it too short or you didn't cut it straight or anything like that. So this makes for good beginner work so that you can go ahead and get used to your equipment and learn your skill before you start investing. So yesterday I decided I'd invest in some wood, and that is what I did. So we're going to look at that. So what we have here is, this is black walnut. This is mesquite. And this is pecan. I live in Texas, so these are locally sourced hardwoods that I can buy here close. Now here's what the difference is. Black walnut. Black walnut goes for $13.50 a board foot. Now what's the difference? A linear foot is basically what it sounds like. How long is the wood? For every foot, that's what you pay. But a board foot is a board, if you can imagine, that is 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 inch thick. That is, quote, a board foot. So what we have here, again, for these pieces of walnut, there are 4 pieces here. Total length is probably around 16 feet, maybe 17 feet. And that stack was $106.65. Well, let's move on to mesquite. So this is mesquite wood, again, sold by the board foot. 1 board foot is $21. So this stack of material is $149.10. And again, you're looking at maybe 15 feet of it and about 5 inches wide. And finally, we have a Texas favorite. The state tree of Texas is pecan. So they're sourced locally. Pecan at this particular place was $8 a board foot. And so this little stack, which is about 16 feet, is $68.40. So all of this material together, added up, after tax, was $346.03. $346.03. Everything on this table added up to maybe 12, 15 bucks. Okay? So you can see there's a dramatic difference as you start stepping up in material. And again, if you're a beginner just getting started, which is what this series is all about, I strongly recommend that you go ahead and stick with some easy to acquire, inexpensive wood. Again, repurposed wood is best. You may recall that on my octagonal table, I had a piece of wood that was 3 foot by 3 foot by 1.25 inches thick. I bought it at a resale shop with an iron stand for a total of 20 bucks. Okay? Had I bought that new as hardwood, it would have been at least $300. So you can see there's an incredible difference in how much you're going to spend when you start to go to better material. So if you're a beginner, maybe stick with some inexpensive things and work your way up. And when you have the skill set that you think that you need to be able to start making finer products and finer projects, then maybe step up into a nice hardwood. Okay, maple and walnut are the preferred for most woodworkers who are working locally. But there are dozens, literally hundreds probably, of different types of wood. They use a scale called the Jenka scale that lets you know how dense the wood is. The denser it is, the finer you can make furniture, but it's also a lot rougher on your tools. It dulls your blades quicker, it burns, and it binds if you don't know how to feed it through your equipment. So again, trying to help you out here in the beginner world. If you're just getting started, keep it simple, keep it inexpensive until you can hone your skills. Once you hone your skills, step up your game. In the meantime, I appreciate your views. I appreciate your subscriptions. And I would appreciate it if you'd share with others. As always, be safe.